of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
Yeah, damn good coffee and hot. That's correct. Oh, is things working? Is they be working? I don't think they is be working. I think I'm stuck. I could be stuck. It appears that I'm stuck. You see how I'm stuck? Oh, this is not good. This is a bad thing to be stuck. Maybe I should revert to emergency backup systems. What the fuck, man? This is not a good way to start the day. Uh, let's see here. I'm sorry, folks. We are stuck behind a wall of spinning crapola. Let's see here if I do this. Well, that was awkward enough. Oh my God, that was the worst start to a program ever. Good morning, folks. See, this is the issue with browser-based streaming technology. We need hardware-based stuff, and I will be moving to that soon because that was not fun. Whatever that was, it was not fun. Good morning. It is Wednesday, March 29th, 2023. Almost the last day of March. March is an extremely long month, and it's 31 days, right? It's only 3 days longer than February, but it feels like a year longer. Anyway, in some ways, that's a good thing, and in some ways, it's not a bad thing. Fiscally, if you're an employer in a month like this, you're issuing 5 paychecks in a month. If you're an employee, you're getting 5 paychecks in a month. It's kind of a thing or not a thing, depending on your perspective. Anyway, good to have you here. Yesterday was supposed to be a short show, ended up being a longer show than normal for no particular reason. This uh, myself and Will having a conversation that would not end. But today, I think I am going to really have a short one. I have such a long weekend coming up. And tonight I have a moon landing faker guy. A moon landing faker guy. What's the moon landing faker guy's name? Bart something. Just looking this up. Everything's so slow today. These computers. I want to punch computers. Do you ever want to punch computers? No, I'm turning this crap off. Get out of my face, you bastard. I'll look it up over here. Where you folks are. It's going to be one of those days I could tell. Bart Sibro. Look him up. He's a guy. Now, here's the thing. The moon landing has been debunked thoroughly debunked. The moon landing is faked conspiracy thing. Has been debunked for 50 years, consistently and thoroughly. So why bring it up? Continue to do it now if it's not just to sell books and make money and grift. Then what? There has to be some new evidence. I expect this to be a little bit contentious because if he goes back to the beginning stuff with the photographs and you can't see the stars, all that crap has been thoroughly decraptified. So you got to wipe out all of the previous crapola that's come out in the fake moon landing bullshit conspiracy theory. You got to wipe out all of that and start fresh. What do you got new that suggested? Now, I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but the last moon landing, we left something there, a reflector for a laser, and we still point lasers at it now and then to get um, measurements and readings and things like that. So we are constantly bouncing stuff off an object that we left there. That's kind of hard to get around when you're talking about, well, we were never there. Well, we just got lucky. Somebody else put just a laser reflector happened to just fall in the right place that our lasers are lined up to. Um, that's going to be a tough one for them. But it should be an interesting conversation. My dog just died on TV. Um, Interesting conversation. Now, I want to talk about Sam Cedar. You know who Sam Cedar is? Do you folks know Sam Cedar? I follow Sam Cedar. And um, while I don't agree with everything Sam Cedar says, Sam Cedar is one of the more brilliant minds, analytical minds in political punditry. A um, a YouTube guy. I don't think he's just a YouTube guy. I think they're on. I think he might actually be on the radio, on terrestrial radio here in New York. I don't know. Used to be on MSNBC. Got kicked off of that. I don't know why he got kicked off of that. But the Minority Report, Sam Cedar. A lot, or I should say most, or I should say all of the right wing guys who do that, the Tim Pools, the uh, Louderwood Crowder, Stephen Crowder, you name it, all those, Matt Walsh, uh, Ben Shapiro, all of them are afraid to debate Sam Cedar. Like he's some sort of bully. He's not. I mean, in a debate, first of all, in these political debates, no matter what, anybody who gets involved in them declare themselves a winner, despite what you think. I just declare myself the winner. I don't know where the fear comes, but and so you might say, well, it's ridiculous to suggest that people are afraid to debate him. No, 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 no. We have absolute proof, evidence, concrete evidence that they are afraid to debate him. Stephen Crowder actually shit his pants and ran away when set up with a first of all, going back a little bit, he chickened out and he had his father, or he was writing letters to Sam saying he wanted a debate, but then when Sam accepted the debate, excuses came up, and he uh, Sam showed up at an event where Crowder ran away, and then Evan HQ, whatever his name, H3 Evan Quinn, is that his name? Um, Set him up. He was supposed to debate Stephen Crowder, and Sam Cedar was sneaking in the back door through a remote feed. And as soon as he showed up, Crowder bailed and ran away. And there have been lots of those. Tim Pool um, has backed out. All of them have. Now, yesterday or 2 days ago, let me back up a little bit. Or late last week, Sam Cedar did debate Patrick Bet David on Patrick's. I don't know if he calls it a podcast or what, Valuetainment. Patrick is Iranian Hispanic, which doesn't, I don't bring up the heritage for nothing, but Them so when Hispanics are conservatives, it makes for a weird mix because conservatives in today's political environment are anti-immigrant, especially when immigrants happen to be from Latin America. So it's a real tricky kind of thing to be conservative and also be Hispanic. He's also part Iranian, uh, but very hard right wing guy, uh, but somebody who is generally not angry in debates, not insulting in debate, can debate civilly. Generally, there have been times when it got a little bit out of control. But with him and Sam Cedar, it got a little hot. And listen, as I mentioned, Sam Cedar is extremely intelligent, very smart guy, knows his facts. And the conversation was about taxes and marginal tax rates and what tax rates should be. And of course, if you are on the left leaning towards more social programs and stuff like that, you're going to agree with Sam Cedar. And if you're on the right and want, and especially a rich guy on the right and don't want to pay taxes, you got to agree with Pat David. So Rogan saw that clip of the segment of them arguing about taxes and decided to take sides in it with Patrick Bet David against Sam Cedar, but without mentioning Sam Cedar's name, calling him a dork, calling him an idiot, acting like he's just some guy. Now, Rogan has had a past with Sam Cedar, but he acts like he doesn't know him. And he knows him pretty well. They went to high school together. They played on a softball team together before Rogan was famous, before Sam Cedar was um, doing all his um, cartoon voiceover work and all the stuff that he does there. So they know each other, and it's come up before, and Rogan has denied knowing him. And every time he sees him, he just go, "Oh, just some guy." Like there's definitely a intent to distance himself and and act like he doesn't know who Sam Cedar is, but he does. But now he's kind of cast the stone there to say this guy's a fucking idiot, doesn't know what he's talking about with economics. And listen, this is Biff taking on Stephen Hawking. Yeah, as much as I am critical of Rogan, we have to. He's not the average unread guy. He does read. He does have conversations with very smart people quite often. So he's not going to remain a total idiot. But, and there's a big but there, he's not on the intellectual level of somebody like most of his guests. He's not on the intellectual level of even Jordan Peterson, who I don't have a whole lot of respect for. But they're at our league. I put Rogan, and maybe this is thinking too highly of myself, but I put Rogan in my league. I would never debate any one of those fucking people. I just don't have the knowledge or skill set for it. Rogan doesn't either, and he's painted himself into a corner because people are calling. Listen, you threw down the gauntlet. You basically insulted the guy, called him a fucking idiot, says he doesn't know what he's talking about in as far as economics and all this stuff. So people are saying, "Well, have him on." You keep saying this some guy. Well, his name is Sam Cedar. You know that. You've been told that. You've been told that by lots of people. There is plenty of evidence, and we can go back on your podcast. You've talked about him 100 times. You know who he is. Time to debate him, and there's going to be a lot of pressure for that now. So anyway, William Conway's in the chat room saying he loves Jordan Peterson and loves watching him cry. There's nothing wrong with a man who cries appropriately at the right things at the right time. But a man who breaks down crying constantly over the littlest things, there is something wrong with his emotional foundations, his emotional support. Uh, oh, he said, I love uh, Jordan Peterson. Oh, yeah, he did say I love. I'm reading it back now. You love Jordan Peterson, is what he said. Um, yes, I love Jordan Peterson. I love him. Uh, I will say this: Jordan Peterson had some nuggets of, and it's not original thought. Believe me, the clean up your room stuff. He didn't invent that. Shit, if he invented that, I think there are a couple of probably about 500 or 600 years of human civilization that just were doing it accidentally or unconsciously or whatever. He did. He didn't invent that stuff. He originally, when he wrote his first book and when he was coming out talking about pronouns, and Rogan made him famous, he did have some foundational um, bits of useful ideas to pass down. But at some point, and this is because I think in a big way because of he's a benefactor of getting famous quickly for not having done all that much. He did not deserve his fame. He did not work for his fame. So in that, it looks like William's popping in here. I need to change the background. You gotta give me a second before you just pop in. You gotta give me a second so I can do this or this. Actually, this is
I
better.
don't. I don't. I.
I have no.
It's
I know.
it's the phone. The phone does it.
It's the phone. It's the phone, boss. Uh, I'm
The
talking.
plane. The plane. I know what you're doing.
Yeah. So I was talking about Jordan Peterson saying that at some point he got too full of himself, and this happens because people get famous quickly for doing very little. So he was very famous very quickly, just on
Right.
the home pronouns thing, just being like
Right.
making it
Yeah,
a
he was catapulted into the light for sure.
right. Yeah. And then he started to take himself way too seriously, and now he thinks he's the voice of morality for everybody. And uh
I mean, there's truth to that. There's definitely truth to that.
yeah,
Like it was like they were like, "Hey, we're gonna give you a voice," and he was like, "Oh, well, I'm going to use this voice in every way I can."
right.
You know, like
And he's antagonistic against people he disagrees with in a very aggressive way. Like he'll put out a video like, "Who do you think you're messing with? You you people have no idea who you're taking on. Come at me. Come at me before I cry again." And then people will come at him and they'll say, "How unfair they came at me."
right, right. I've been attacked over and over.
So
But I agree with you. He's got it. Listen, I'm a very discerning person. So, like, if you have good, beneficial things to say, I'll give you an ear. You know, so I like a lot of his videos. I find them very inspiring.
me
I
too.
find them empowering. However, it doesn't mean I buy into everything the dude says.
Right.
And I mean, honestly, I don't I'm very, very rarely like it's hard for me to buy into somebody's whole thing
That's
because that's them. That's
right.
their individual beliefs and path or whatever. And like, listen, bro, there's 7 billion different realities happening
Eight.
right now.
8.
8 billion, right? You know what I mean? Reality is only
My reality
reality
says
to
there's
you
8.
and
Your
your
reality could say there's
consciousness.
7. But
Right. So I mean, you know, you gotta if you don't have a level of discernment in this world at all, then you're gonna be in real trouble.
well, I'm freaking out about what I'm seeing here on Twitter. Um, what you said there about somebody can have somebody can be like you disagree with them, but still find some things that they say that you agree with that there are great value in, and you want to pass that on. That is the heart. You know who Ayala is? She's
Who?
a Ayala is her name. She's on Twitter. I think she's on Facebook too. But she's a young. She seems young. I'd say under 30. Former sex worker, maybe still sex worker, who's a social researcher, and she
Right.
asks questions all the time on Twitter. This morning she asked. She poses hypotheticals and puts you in situations and puts out polls. Now, she's saying somebody who is on Twitter that you find creepy or stalky or weird or in some way, generally don't like them and you don't get along with them, but you see they post some or tweet something that you find is really helpful or agreeing or you agree with. You retweet it or not, and that's her poll. And so I'm one of
Right.
the guys. I'm one of those. I was if I see somebody I disagree with, but they said something I really do agree with, I will retweet it. I will say, there's a point here. You
Yeah.
have to be you have to be willing to say, yes, you have a good point in that. And if you can't do that, then you're just going to be antagonistic, and just that's where the polarization of the parties come in. Like I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, whatever. You
Right.
paint yourself into a corner. Now I have to believe
Right.
everything with the dogma.
Yeah. See, and
Really,
yeah, and to me that's no good. I'm a very big fan of independent thinking. You
this
know.
brace is going to drive me crazy. It's itchy. I'm going to be like a dog.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. What
Poor
I'm
guy.
seeing here on Twitter, I can't share this. I could, but it's just too much fucking work right now. Stormy Daniels, you know who Stormy Daniels is.
Yes.
Uh, she's got and Trump called her horse face. She's got a live stream. Uh, she's got a live stream coming, and she titled it "Straight from the Horse's Mouth." She's embracing the fact that he called her horse face.
Right.
What a
And that's good.
yeah, I know it is.
That is smart marketing.
It is.
Um, can I share my news? Can I please share my news? I'm super excited to share my news.
Yeah, share your news, man. Congratulations,
Oh,
by the way.
thank
But
you. Thank you. What?
don't jinx yourself.
Right. No, I feel you, but boy, howdy. This is the thing. So the Sioux Falls, the Junior League of Sioux Falls, which is an organization here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, that tries to get a lot of community stuff going. They're doing a kind of like a mini Last Comic Standing competition, and they were selecting 10 finalists, and they announced those finalists last week. And I had submitted, and it's part of why I made the trip when I did. Um, but I was not part of those 10 people selected. And of course, I was bummed. You know what I mean? Of course, who wouldn't be bummed? You want to get into the stuff you submit to. Um, but, but for some reason, one of those finalists is unavailable for the event. So they had to select somebody new. And it's this guy. So April 14th, I am going to be at the district with a banger list of comics. Like I know all but one of the names on this list, and they are all legit, like people that could win it, people that could take it home for sure. So I'm just glad to be counted in the number.
Broadcasting from the
To
Rocky
be honest
Mountain
with you,
shore of
because I
New
mean,
York.
I think the whole show is going to be stacked. If you're in the Sioux Falls area, you should definitely try and get tickets. It's at the district, April 14th. It's going to be an amazing show. And the
Good.
winner gets $500 and the title of Sioux Falls Last Comic Standing.
Is it going
So
to be videotaped?
I will get some footage from it as well. They that was actually part of when you submitted. They said that you're going to get a tape at the end. That's going to be a good tape to be able to use or whatever. So I'm excited for that as well.
Very cool. Very cool. Um, somebody who's uh, involved in producing that stuff had reached out about promoting it, but never followed up on I guess it was Facebook, maybe it was Road Comics. And I've reached out to them several times back and never heard anything. So that would be cool to get somebody to kind of promote it and can get them to come on and talk about it.
Yeah, I'll look into it. Like one of the organizers or whatever. That'd be great. I will
Lights are
certainly see what
flashing,
I
yeah.
can do on my end to make that happen. Is
Weird
there like
lighting.
is there a bug or something in there? What is going
No,
on?
I thought so. The lights were flashing back behind me there. I don't know what's going on. Like I was getting pulled over.
I didn't see a change really.
Did you remember to do this?
Mind Dog is your mind's best friend.
Oh no, okay, yep, you're right. You're right. I did not remember to do that. I got
Hey,
super
stop
distracted.
looping.
But you want it to be like you're listening to Mind Dog.
Yeah,
Broadcasting from the rocky cliffs of Shoreham, New York, you're listening to Mind Dog Radio.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, anything like that. But yeah, and the Dante clip, because you mentioned Last Comic Standing, now we have to did you remember to find me a Dante clip?
Man, you know what?
No,
Man,
I'm not. Listen,
I'm falling short.
I forget all the time. I totally get it.
Yesterday I got so distracted, bro. I was literally running laps in this house, bro. Like when he messaged me and told me that Ethan, I think Abramson is his name, couldn't make it, and that they selected me instead. I was like, get out. I was like, get out. Like I was like, there's no way that happened. You know what I mean? Because listen, bro, when fate smiles at you, you got to smile back, bro.
I hear you. So yeah, and so are you going to reach out to the person and say thanks for quitting, thanks for bailing out? I would. Thank you for creating this opportunity.
I don't want to go into like dick territory of like, yeah.
I think that's courtesy. Like, thank you.
Okay, yeah, no. I mean, if you because see, okay, this is why I'm not good at life. All right, I don't have very good social skills, man. I don't know.
Me neither. So don't go by me.
So like to me, I'm like, that might feel like I'm rubbing it in or something. I don't want to be like that, you know.
No, but yeah,
but I do certainly appreciate the spot. That's for damn sure.
Right. Yeah, definitely. It opened up an opportunity for you, but you're right. It could come off as like trying to be antagonistic, but you know what? It depends on how you approach it and how you handle it and how he accepts it or whatever. So it's all human interaction is very weird like that.
Now, getting into the contest in this way does make me want to do. It does give me some promo ideas. I was thinking about like doing like some ambush videos on the other competitors because I know like all the other competitors. I've worked with all of them multiple times. I know all the other comics that are on the show. And so I thought about like doing some ambush videos where I just like creep on them in like a Tanya Harding outfit or something, you know, like just low level intimidation shit, you know.
Yeah,
that's probably too far. That's
Andy might be able to get you the real Tanya Harding to do the spots for you.
Dude, does he know the real Tanya Harding?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He was part of Tanya Harding's crew. I think she skated against Doug or something, and there was something on the Man Show. She was on the Man Show, and Andy was her coach. But yeah, they know each other. So yeah, I tell them to put in a call to Tanya Harding and ask if she would help you with some promotional videos.
Dude, that would be so funny.
I wonder what she looks like now. She probably, that's a long
I think I saw some pictures not that long ago. She really doesn't. I don't think she looks all that different, really. I mean,
30 years, man.
It's been a lot. I mean, she looks older, obviously. You know what I mean? And her, she's filled out because she was really petite back in the 90s. But
was she?
What?
I thought she was kind of manly looking.
I don't know. I thought her face was petite, though. You know what I mean? You didn't think so?
I think she looked. She kind of reminded me a little of Stormy Daniels, little horse. No, actually, I don't think Stormy Daniels looks like a horse. Actually,
Oh man.
she's not. You know what? It is what it is. Did Tanya Harding ever do porn? I think she did porn, didn't she?
Oh, I'm probably
Oh,
sure she did.
let me look up. Let me look this up. Tanya Harding. No, but wait a minute. It'll be stuck in my browser's history. Tanya Harding doing porn. Like, wait a minute. We can't have that.
See, I usually don't look up celebrity porn because that's where most of the viruses are.
Really?
At least I always felt like it. It felt like whenever I looked up celebrity porn, that's when shit got a virus. So I just stopped looking up celebrity porn and just go for regular girls.
Oh, she looks way different now. Way different. She looks like a soccer mom.
Okay, yeah, no, that's very, yeah, no, I would say the last picture. You know what? She really reminds me of that chicken from Adventures in Babysitting, if you remember her.
Kind of, yeah.
I can't remember her name either.
The Harding's confession, men's guilty pleas and sentencing. Harding and Connie Chung travel to Norway. What the fuck is that? Another guilty plea admissions, response from the defense, grand jury indictment. Wow, this is stuff after the later interviews. No, it doesn't say anything. Boxing career. Oh, not porn. She went into boxing.
Boxing?
2002, Harding boxed against Paula Jones. Paula Jones, the one who had the affair with Bill Clinton, on Fox News Network celebrity boxing event, winning the fight on February 22nd, 2003. She made her official women's professional boxing debut, losing a 4-round split decision against Samantha Browning in an undercard, blah, 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 blah. So she went 0-2, no wins, 2 losses. Oh wait, why do they have it broken up into 2 things? 6 fights, and then it says by knockout. She lost twice. She got knocked out twice by decision. She won 3 decisions and lost 1, so she ended up 3-3.
All right.
Then she went into automobile racing.
What? What? I got knocked around by people. Now I want to get knocked around by cars.
Weird. What is
That's
she
a
doing?
Hard turn. No pun intended.
Yeah, I know. I don't think she. I think I misread that something. But no, what is she doing now? Later, no.
What?
The picture of her now. Oh my God. Oh. That's not the main picture on Wikipedia. We come down to where she is now. Oh, it's like Anyway,
did I ever tell you that I had 7 amateur MMA fights back in like 2001, 2002? Did I ever tell you that?
No.
Yeah.
MMA.
Yeah.
Which are your A's? What A's do you?
So it was just, so the promotion. I not like gotten a belt or anything. I did train in a gym a little bit, and I mean I've had a few jiu-jitsu classes, but it's not like I have a strong working knowledge. But it's not like you needed one for this promotion. It was like it was some rinky-dink promotion. Like I think it was called Extreme Sports Fighting, and they actually had their fights in one of the conference rooms at the downtown Holiday Inn. But it was cool. Like the local rock station would come and they had a DJ that would like handle the music and stuff. Metal Melissa would always play Headstrong when I came out. From my 3rd fight on, Metal Melissa played Headstrong every time I came to the ring, which was just some fucking mats on the floor surrounded by chairs. And there were no judges. There were no judges to score the contest. It wasn't like the amateur fights were not sanctioned at all. They did have some semi-pro fights that were sanctioned. So I'm sure those were judged. But for the amateur fights, it was 3 rounds, and I think they were either 2-minute or 3-minute rounds. I can't really remember. It was like 20 years ago. And if you went the entire time, it was just a draw. And so I was on some real um paying a penance kind of bullshit at the time. So I was there to take punishment. I literally signed up for these fights so that I could get beat up. And to me, the most entertaining thing that I could do was last the entire fight. So my record for those 7 fights is 0-1-6 is my record for those 7 fights. The one fight I lost was because I got caught in a guillotine choke during the second round that like I wasn't getting out of it, and I knew that if I didn't tap, I was gonna go unconscious. And if you go unconscious, there's like a certain amount of time that you can't fight for. And I wanted to be able to fight again next week, so I tapped.
You
So
reasoned all that in the heat of the moment in the ring. That's
oh
hard
sure,
to do.
bro. Like
I
I mean,
can't. I wouldn't have a reasoned conversation with myself while getting choked. That's all I would.
okay, so you have that conversation, but that conversation happens in your mind in a nanosecond. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like because you know the situation. Like
Oh, see, I got him in a choke hold right now. He
out of
can't
this,
breathe.
I have to tap because like it's a thing in the back of my mind knowing that if I go unconscious during this fight, I can't fight next week. Like that's kind of just an unconscious thing that's already back there. You
All
know what
right.
I mean? That's part of being mentally prepared for a fight. You know what I mean? Is because those things happen and you have to know that, you know. They tried to get me to fight semi-pro, and I was like, obviously you guys
I just knocked him out. Just hit a button and got rid of him. No, he he must have lost battery power or something, lost signal, or got a phone call or something. Anyway, so where we left off, William was being beckoned to go semi-pro after losing one fight and tying 6. I guess what is a draw. I don't know where the optimism for a career in semi-pro is with a record like that. Just curious about what he said in the beginning there, and if he comes back, we'll talk to him about it. If not, next time he's on, we'll talk to him about it. But this idea of wanting to get beat up, like pain as a growth. Listen, there's no doubt. There's no doubt that how do I even phrase it? That getting hurt is part of growth, and the struggles and challenges and obstacles and losses are a catalyst to growth, but never like consciously I'm going in there to get beat up. It's like that's kind of crazy. It's kind of like and I think I might have done this before. I'm just trying to, it's been so long since I got had any kind of mentality around the idea of battling as a young man. I think I might have gotten into some fights with the idea of taking a beating. I don't. It's just a foreign concept right now. Hard for me to wrap my head around. But so there was that. Anyway, before William came on, I was talking about Jordan and Peterson, and I think it's important to kind of recognize because I do make fun of him being a crybaby, but not because he's crying. I don't think there's anything unmanly about crying when it's appropriate. If your wife dies, it's a good time to cry. If your children die, it's a good time to cry. If somebody made a point about trans women, trans men having equal rights, that's not a good time to cry unless you are one of that community and you are and the tears of joy about getting rights or tears of frustration about not being able to get rights or have the same rights. those are appropriate tears. But for a guy who just hates trans people, to break down in conversation about rights and start crying or talk about politics, anything in politics, and you break down crying, that's unstable. And you could see, at least in my, and you can disagree with me all you want on this. If you're a clinical psychologist and he wants to keep his license to practice, even though he doesn't practice anymore. But if you're a clinical psychologist, you have to, again, my opinion, not this is not fact. So you have to at least put out a convincing facade that you are not judgmental against people. And this guy is the most judgmental about everybody who does not agree with him about it. Imagine having any kind of psych issues and wanting to share them with your therapist, Dr. Jordan Peterson. So if nobody would ever feel comfortable sharing what troubles them with their therapist, Dr. Peterson, oh, Dr. Peterson, um, then why should he even keep his license to practice clinical psychology? It doesn't add up. Looks like William got off the phone with the phone sex line that he had to drop the call to take a phone sex call, but now he's back.
Oh yeah, right there. That's
No,
wonderful.
it's not me.
I love
No,
that.
it's a different line.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I
Um, you would
didn't-
before when you started talking about the MMA story, you were talking about getting into it, intending to get beat up.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So at the time, I was I was in a really, really tough place mentally. Like, I, I was less than a year, maybe about a little over a year away from leaving my first wife, and there was just a lot of angst in me, and I was really drugged out. I was getting high and drunk all the time, and I, for some reason, I needed the pain. The pain of those fights reminded me that I was actually fucking alive. And by going in there and getting beat up and having people cheer, and the other part is like it was really a weird transitional period because like there for me there was something about people enjoying my pain. Um because I realized at that point already that I had been pretty damaging to the world, and it was kind of like my way of letting the world damage me back. It was a weird fucking view of pain penance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to be fair, it was probably really really sick, and and like I remember one fight in particular. I'm fairly certain it's why I have like an erratic heartbeat now. This one particular fight, because this guy had got me down, and it was during the second round, and he had just pounded on my chest. Like that dude hit me, like he had me down on the ground, like in the ground and pound position. He had top position on me, and he hit me directly over the heart. I don't know how many times, bro. And it took the entire break between rounds. I crawled to my corner, and it took the whole break for me to get back to my feet. My corner guy, Brent, and my son's mother, who was at the fight, begged me to not go back out for round three. But I did, and I finished that fight, and I was very proud of myself because of it. But yeah, it was a real sick, twisted thing for me to do, but it served a purpose for the time.
Uh,
But
you know
I
what?
don't suggest that.
I don't know how sick it was. Again, after when you popped out there, I was thinking about. I'm not sure if I've had that. Listen, I never did organized fighting ever. I was never in a ring type of fighting, but I was in a lot of bar fights and street fights when I was young.
Yeah,
Uh, Kind of what I was known for, just kind of always getting in fights, too many fights.
right, right.
But I'm trying to remember if I ever had that intent. I think I probably did have that intention. Now, where I'm going here is it's not so crazy if you know you're going into an organized thing where there's going to be people there who
Sh-
might not let you die.
Sure, yeah, it's a controlled setting for
Right.
sure.
But like in a bar fight or a street fight, that's
Yeah,
not
that's
the
super
case.
dangerous.
That's crazy.
Like I would never lay in the weeds in a street fight. Matter of fact, I mean, part of why I do my best to steer away from violence is because of, like, if I'm in an actual physical confrontation, um, I'm telling you right now, my goal is to hurt you as bad as I can, as fast as I can, so there is absolutely no chance that you can come back and do something against me. Like and so, like, I don't engage in physical confrontation because I don't want that part of me to come, because I'll hurt somebody real fast, and in that moment, that, like, the part of me that engages does not give a shit about the other person. Like, when I'm in a physical confrontation, I'm not the same guy, and that's why I don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, if I see myself rising in my anger, I'll remove myself from the situation, because I'm not willing to pay those prices today.
Rage
You
is
know?
a very funny thing. They used to equate it with me because I was very big at the time as going green, like the Hulk thing, going
Yeah.
green.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But you just become a monster. But later, I think around my 40s, I started to lose that malice for the other person,
Right.
and I used to. It happened like last year when I got the thing with the kid across the street. Well, he was across the street. He's not from across the street, but I think in the last 25 years or so, my strategy has been put the guy to sleep, not to hurt him, to kind of put him to sleep, but get him unconscious as quickly as possible, at least subdued and submit in a submission, and
Yeah.
then hold them there until police come or ambulance comes or somebody comes and
Yeah.
can safely dismantle it or defuse the situation. That's so. But I did have murderous intent when I was a young man. But
Right.
definitely, I don't know how you lose that. I think
You
that's
stop
natural.
being angry.
That's an Yeah, but it's a natural thing for males. I think part of the way
Sure.
testosterone
It's the
drives
way
your
we're
brain.
built. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's a survival instinct. But
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to evolve out of that anytime soon. People talk about
Right.
what's happening to men. I don't think men are any different. I really don't. Do you think men are different now? Well, you've only had 40 years to see this, or
I
40.
mean, I think there's a pretty stark difference between um the group of, people that I grew up, the group of guys I grew up with, and, like, my son's crew. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's some pretty stark differences.
Really?
Um,
Like
and I mean, I
manliness
love my
wise?
son, and I'm not in any way trying to throw shade, but, like, they're I would say young people today, especially in, like, their early 20s or whatever, they're a much more and I'll say sensitive, but I don't want to say that in, like, a weak way.
No, I
My
think
son is very mindful of how what he says and does affects other people. I don't think my generation was necessarily that way. Like, especially when we were young. When we were young in our late teens and early 20s, I don't remember my generation really giving a whole lot of a shit about how other people felt about what we did. You know what I mean? But we were also raised right, for the, you know, the idealism was different. You know what I mean? But like, I think that when something was wrong around us in the 90s or whatever, we were far less probable to say something. We just minded our own fucking business. Now, when people see something wrong happening, it's everybody's fucking business.
Hmm. I don't know. I probably disagree with a lot of what you just said there. In this, I don't think it's necessarily generational. I think you're basing it on individuals, But
I mean, that's probably true too. Yeah, that's
yeah.
fair to say.
But like,
Because I mean, a lot of what I encountered was like the Midwest stuff, which is definitely a far cry from like what's happening in your area, you
right,
know?
absolutely. But this idea that men in some way have become less of men because of society of the way society is, I don't think
Well, I
that's
don't think
true.
it's less of men. It's just different men.
Right.
I don't think it's a lesser or greater. We're just different. We have a different focus now, I think.
But what I brought up was these people like Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro. Who Ben Shapiro is like a sissy man to me. I mean,
Oh
you
yeah,
can grow a
totally a
beard
sissy guy.
and you still seem.
Yeah, yeah,
But they talk about the loss of mass and Tucker Carlson again. All these guys who do this are the guys I would have been bullying in grade school. I would have been beating the shit out
right.
of daily in grade school. These
Well,
guys
and
talk about what it.
honestly, like I commend my son and his friends for like listen. I think it's a shame the kind of shit that we just used to look the other way on. And I think it's about fucking time that we as a society stand up and say certain behaviors just aren't fucking okay. You know what I mean? Because we weren't doing that before. And to me, there's a huge strength in that.
I
And
do.
there's a
I
huge
think you're right.
strength in standing up and caring about other fucking people.
Certain behaviors are not okay.
Right.
But now I tend to agree with you on that. But that can be taken all over the map, and I think this is what we're seeing is like people saying, "Well, if you want to dress like a girl, that's a problem. That's a behavior that's not okay, and they have the right to stand up and say that." And
I
so,
mean,
you
so to me, that's a behavior that has a proper time and place.
to you, but
Right.
there are people, and I agree with you. Whatever people want to do, it has no effect on me. I'm fine with it. But there are a lot of people who want to legislate that now and say you're not allowed to do that,
Yeah,
and
that
time or
sucks.
place
That's
doesn't
terrible.
matter.
Right.
But
And
the idea that men are somehow less men, I reject that. Uh, I think there have been changes in the way genders have to deal with each other, and the
right.
feminist movement has put a lot of men in a different role than they expect to be in. Like it's not their fathers would
Very
never
true.
accept those roles.
Very true.
Yeah. So my ex-wife, I think I told the story on the Man Hater show. The guy Jack Hammer, who wrote the book about men being persecuted. When I first got married, I was one of these old-fashioned guys who said, "I'm going to be the breadwinner. I want my wife to stay home and raise the kids, and basically I'll go out and work." And that we tried that, and then we got divorced. She never worked while we were married, and then after we were divorced, she got a job and she did very well. Now she makes more than me. But the guy she ended up marrying after me became Mr. Mom, and she became the breadwinner, and that's their life. So she married a guy. Her first husband insisted that she be the
Right.
homemaker, and she was okay with that. But then she wasn't okay with that, and we got divorced. And then she did a complete 360, and now,
Yeah. And
and
that
that's
thing
worked
I
for
didn't
them for
like doing, I'm
35
going to
years.
make somebody else do it.
Yeah, and they're both okay with that, and God bless them. You
Right.
know what? And
Right.
he's not less of a man because to me, I'm kind of jealous of them in the fact that I would love to be able to have a woman support me and just like I'm just going to stay home and play and do what I love. I'm
Right.
going to play music and podcast, and you go out and make the money. I'll make sure the house is clean and there's dinner on the table when you get home.
Right.
That's fine.
Right.
That's a fair deal for me.
Yeah. Look, I mean, listen, I mean, it people people have a variety of things that speak to them or whatever. You know what I mean? And like there's some awesome stay-at-home dads. You know what I mean? Like I know a couple of them and they're solid dudes,
Yeah.
you know. And I wouldn't say that they're weak guys or whatever,
I bet
but
you most of them would probably beat me in like a sporting event, any one-on-one basketball, any of that kind of stuff. Most of the guys I know who are uh, take a back seat in their relationship with their women
yeah.
are generally better than me at sports and stuff like that. So what's the measure of a man? How are you measuring this
Right,
manliness?
right.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Because dude, it's so um like subjective. You know what I mean? Like all the variables change and it all depends on what fits for that couple. You know,
Right.
and that's why I don't get people that judge people on that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's so ridiculous. Like who are you to say what works for them? You know
I
what I
I
mean?
think it's about it's kind of hard to explain this, but I think it's about power. It's not it's like we need a scapegoat. Who's it going to be to order in order to gain power for our team? Like I'm not sure, and I kind of alluded to this yesterday. My friends who are very conservative seem to love drag queens. I don't think that most of the conservatives who are on this anti-trans, anti cross-dressing, anti any of that kind of stuff, I don't think they're really all that passionate about. But they need somebody to beat up in order to rally their base to get the people excited or angry or whatever in order to mobilize them to gain power back. And I think they just ran at. Well, we went through blacks, we went through Jews, we went through homosexuals. Who else could we beat up on? Yeah, well, it's guys in dresses. We can get them. Oh, good idea.
Uh,
you know,
man.
we need to
Yeah,
get people
no.
angry at somebody.
Yeah,
No,
and I mean, I really wish as a society that we would let go of that idea that in order for me to increase, others must decrease, because that's not always true. You know what
never
I
true.
mean? Like
It's
like you
that's a
don't
zero
have to
sum.
make
Yeah.
others feel small to make yourself feel better. Like the world does work in other ways than that.
I think it actually works opposite of that because if I make somebody feel, unless you are a complete sociopath or psychopath, if you if you put somebody else down, you're going to feel that within your own self, and
Yes.
it will definitely
Yes.
hurt you. You
It's
know,
its own self-feeding sickness.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
just
I
a
mean,
cut.
I'm learning it. I'm learning to be, because I get stuck in negative. There's times where I lash out at people, and I'm working on it. I'm working on, I love not having days where I didn't argue with somebody. And
Yeah.
like I love having days where there were no, arguments. There was no, man, that's so nice. It's so nice. I used to never have days like that, Matt. Never. I used to live my life in a way where I never had days where I didn't argue with somebody.
Well, I'm
And like,
glad I was able to cure you of that because now
I
every
mean,
day
you're
you have.
you're a huge help in it. I don't know if you realize that, but for real, you are, dog. You are a huge aid in like my, furthering myself as a person because you do open my mind to a lot of different perspectives. You make me think about shit. And yeah, bro, I'm a better person because I know you. I totally believe that.
Michael Zinn says, "Have you seen the way?" Question mark. I think the question mark is a mistake. Probably it's meant to be a comma. They are spinning the story with the
I don't.
latest
What's
shooting.
the latest shooting? I don't even know what the latest shooting
The
is.
latest shooting was a trans person, a trans woman, a trans female. I don't know if she was quite a woman yet because I'm not sure what the age was. killed 6 people, 3 adults and 3 children at a Tennessee Christian school with 2 AR-15s.
Man.
And then got, I don't know if she killed herself or I think the police killed her. But how they're spinning it is in all sorts of ways. So he says, do you see the way they're spinning it? They're spinning it any way except the gun. They're saying that we have an epidemic of trans serial killers, which
that sounds ridiculous. That just sounds ridiculous.
Well, Don Jr. put out a 2-minute video where he's just talking about this epidemic of trans, and they're all like every trans person now is going to be a serial killer in Don Jr.'s eyes. But he's coked up and out of his mind. He does this all the time. Like he's talking, and he's going, like, dude.
Is he like obviously coked out in the video? Oh man, I'm gonna have to watch this.
Yeah. So, but I think the Audrey Hale, I believe, is the shooter's name. And if I get stuff wrong, please. I'm gonna get stuff wrong. I think she went to the school as a child, the same school that she shot up. But my take on this is, you pick on somebody long enough, and whether it's a group of people or an individual, sooner or later you are going to get some kickback of it. If you bully somebody forever and ever, and you just keep bullying them, sooner or later they're going to smack you in the face. And that's what my take on this. The fact that she happened to be trans is coincidental to
I would agree
to that to some degree, but also the fact that you make people feel innocent. You make or invisible is the word. Make them feel invisible. Like make them feel like they don't matter, and then demonize them over and over again. They're gonna snap back sooner or later, and I think that's what you're gonna see. You want them. The idea of epidemic of trans killers.
Well, okay, so
I have an idea. Hear me out. And now I'm saying that somebody else is going to steal this idea. A comedy, a very dark comedy. Trans zombies.
Trans zombie?
Trans zombies.
Okay. Fill me in.
Zombie movies are big hits. Look at even Clay Zombies, Jake's Clay Zombie movie. Zombie movies are a big hit. The society right now is demonizing trans people. We put them both together, that the zombies are trans. So you got all the zombies walking around in dresses. No? I'm wrong here? I think this would be a big hit. Now, it might be controversial and it might get, but listen, all publicity is good publicity.
I mean, right? I'm sure there's a market for it, Matt.
There is a market. It would be a really tough makeup, special effects challenge. But
mainly, you got to make sure to hide the penises. That's the hard part.
See, Ian gets me, I think. Trans zombie apocalypse coming to all right. Yes, and we'll make it killing. The problem is, I guess the real problem is the script is easy. The script is easy as hell. It's the special effects and makeup.
The script is easy. It's just that's the script.
No, there has to be a reason, something that happened that made the trans people come back to life and want to. Well, it's Tucker Carlson. They're after Tucker Carlson, and we need to. This is it. I think writing it in real time here. Jeez. We need to protect Tucker Carlson, so we got to kind of shield him and put him in the bunker while we go out and kill all the trans zombies.
Because all the transsexual zombies want to kill Tucker.
Yes. Send your hate mail to info@minddogtv.com, info@minddogtv.com. With the subject line, "You fucking anti-trans asshole."
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was a bad thought. I'll never do it. The movie that will never be made. I should have never thought of it. Before I let you go, because I do have to go to work.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't mean to hijack you for 2 hours yesterday.
Yeah, I know. The moon landing. What are your thoughts on it? The moon landing's been, the fake moon landing thing.
I want to know. Okay, the thing about the moon landing I want to know the most is I want to hook like Buzz Aldrin up to a fucking lie detector test because like this dude has gone back and forth on what he said a number of times. Like I would like to see. I would like, yeah, no, because yeah, there's been I don't know if you've seen the video clips or whatever, but there's been a couple clips, and here's the thing: you can't really trust clips anymore. I don't know what's real or not, but like, there's a couple clips I've seen where Buzz Aldrin is like, "Oh yeah, it never happened," like we didn't go, like, like,
I
like
don't.
that just fucks me up.
Looks like he's still alive. I don't see a date of birth or death for him.
Yeah, no, he's still alive. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
93.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
And so what they do is his handlers explain away the times where he said that we didn't land on the moon. His handlers pretty much say that it's because he's an old man and he can't remember anything. You know,
Why
uh,
did Buzz Aldrin change his name? What did Aldrin leave on the moon? How old was Buzz Aldrin when he walked on the moon? I have heard those stories where he claimed to say conflicting things, but
yeah,
I've
and
never.
I will say he does sound confused, or kind of like yeah. I mean, he doesn't.
Oh,
It's not like he's confidently and coherently saying, "Oh yes, we never went there." It was he's never like, but like he almost is thrown off. It seems like he's almost thrown off by the question, and then he's like, "Well, we didn't even go. We were never there."
he did punch
That
that
kind.
guy out for accusing him of lying.
Now that was years and years ago. That was a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah,
Let's get him on the program. I'll get him on. He's on Twitter. I'm following him now.
hell yeah,
Buzz
dude. If
Aldrin.
you get Buzz Aldrin on this show, I will fucking shit my pants.
We'll get him on. I think he's
Fuck yeah.
gettable. I think he's
Dude,
gettable.
that's awesome. Dude, that's so awesome.
I'll work on that. But
I mean, I'm still crossing my fingers for the day me and Tommy's paths cross, even if it's on this screen or something. I'm really looking forward to that day.
but what do you this idea that we faked it? We faked it a number of times, supposedly, and now
Right.
Russia and China, who are our you know adversaries, they never went out of they never even tried to say the United States is lying about that, right? So
Right.
why if we faked it, why wouldn't they be saying, you're full of shit? They were trying.
I mean, it could be that it would affect possibly their funding for their space programs because if we faked ours, then maybe that stuff's not possible. Maybe they're not going to get the money to do research to try and do it.
That's not the way it worked in the Soviet Union.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
No, the Soviet Union doesn't have to
I'm
care about.
spitballing here.
No, the Soviet Union doesn't care about people's opinions to get spending money. They don't. It's not a.
I didn't think about that. That's very good. That's a solid fucking point.
We want to put money towards money. We put money.
We spend our money how we want.
Yeah.
Bring more vodka.
So that part of it, but over the years since 1969, since the first moon landing, telescopes have gotten a lot better. People have telescopes. You can go out and you can actually see the surface of the moon for pretty.
Dude, I got friends that got phones that can do that shit.
Right. So I mean, so we know the laser reflector is there. And Ian's point, who cares? I think who cares are the conspiratorial minded people. Because if that's a conspiracy and the government can lie to you about that, then what else can't they lie to you about? And obviously, there's a ton of
they
shit.
lied to us about aliens for
They
fucking
lie
decades.
about they've been lying since before George Washington was sworn in, and even before that. I mean, so yeah, you can't trust the government, but there's no real benefit in keeping that lie together. If they, I could see if they did it once and then never did it again, but they did it year after year for about 5 years and then decided to never do it again. I mean, why would you keep playing that? Why would you have to keep telling that lie over and over again? If that,
Well, if you lie the same lie long enough, it just becomes the truth.
okay. Now, the last thing I'm going to say on this is there was a movie called Capricorn One with the guy from Law and Order, Sam Waterston, whatever, and O.J. Simpson and Hal Holbrook. Came out in the 70s, and it was about faking the moon landing on a Hollywood, soundstage. That to me, I had never heard the conspiracy before that, and this was in the 70s, right after they stopped doing it.
Right.
I think people just watched the movie and just ran with that and never ever looked back. Like
I mean, that could be. That could definitely be.
and the thought occurred to me now. This can be explained away by people who are determined to explain it away. If the government was lying to you and faked this whole thing, why would they allow a movie like that to be made?
Right. I mean,
So
that's. I mean,
so
that's pretty
close.
fair. That's pretty fair.
Now they'll come up and say, "Well, it's just a part of a big thing to make you think it's misinformation." The government actually wanted to put that out there beforehand to get ahead of it in case people started coming out with saying it was fake. Whatever they say doesn't add up. But after all we've been through for almost 50 years now of debunking this, there has to be something new. Because if you go back to look at the photographs, or look, you can't see the stars. That shit's all been discussed, debunked thoroughly to my satisfaction. So if we're just going to be selling books on old information and rehashing old conspiracy theories, then you're just a grifter, unless you got some new compelling evidence. So it could be
Right.
contentious. I don't want to be contentious. I want to keep an open mind to this stuff and say, okay, show me what you got. But if you're going back to, Moses talked to a burning bush. Uh, Okay. A guy Muhammad flew to heaven on a magic carpet.
Oh my God.
It all
Yeah.
comes down to
No, I mean, they all have their stories.
that.
I don't get. I don't get. Where does that come in at? I don't.
What?
I forget. OJ was an actor.
Well, OJ was in the movie Capricorn One. He was.
Oh, okay, okay. I
Yeah.
see. Like I think of OJ as an actor, and I automatically think of the Naked Gun movies.
Naked Gun. Oh, that was great. That was great.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love Leslie Nielsen. Oh my God, I have to tell you this. This is so funny. Fucking. So one of the things that I like to do because I'm a shithead is I like to sit my son down and try and get him to watch movies that I know are just going to trigger the fuck out of him.
I would do that too. I would definitely
Yeah,
do that.
yeah. So like, because he's 21, he's almost 22, so he's of this real political correct generation. Dude, I put on the movie fucking Airplane. Dude, we didn't even get to take off, and he was out. He was like, I can't watch this.
Really?
like I was like, dude, it has like nothing has happened. Nothing has happened yet. You don't even know how fucked this movie. I love that movie though. Like
Yeah.
I can watch Airplane every day, probably. It's so much fun.
Yeah. No. To me, that's one of the best comedies ever. But
Yeah, and my kid couldn't make it to take off. I
yeah.
was like, "What?
And
Come back! Where are you
like
going?"
the Naked Gun and all that. Yeah. So no, was it
Yeah.
Airplane? Yeah, Airplane, because Airplane was a parody of Airport, the original Airport movie with Van Heflin, Dean Martin. That was a good movie. I saw that as a kid. Didn't read the book, the Alex Haley book, I believe. But then saw the movie, and why it was interesting to me as a young kid. I was extremely mobile, flying around the country on my own from birth. Like 6 months, 6 months old, I was on my first jet, flying across the country, and I used to fly. This is weird. As a 3-year-old, they would put me on a plane. My mom would take me to JFK. She would put me on a plane. They'd and strap me in the front seat, and my aunt would be waiting for me in California, and I'd
Right.
go flying alone as a 3-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
But
was
like
doing a lot of that.
back then, the like flight attendants, they like looked after you and stuff, right?
Yeah,
A
yeah,
little.
absolutely, a lot. But
Yeah, they probably fawned over you a little.
when I was hoping, um, when I ran away from home at 13 years old, they I bought a one-way ticket. As a 13-year-old, bought a one-way ticket to Florida from New York. No ID, no questions asked. Buy a one-way ticket at 11 o'clock at night. A teenager, a young teenager, a pubescent teenager, walking in
There's
saying,
reasons this is illegal now, dog.
right, I'm just saying, there was no concern whatsoever, no
Yeah,
questions asked.
yeah,
Sure, you want a one-way ticket to Florida? No problem.
yeah.
Yeah, world has changed for in some ways.
So different.
Regulations are good. Yeah, you don't want 13-year-old kids just walking into. But anybody could have walked in, no security checks, no
Right,
metal detectors, none of that stuff.
right.
But that's why Airport was a very scary movie to me, because I was doing a lot of flying to me and never really wait. Somebody could get on the plane with a bomb. And that was
Right,
happening
yeah.
a lot in the 60s when I was doing that. There were hijackings. Take this plane to Cuba. That was the big thing. Planes getting hijacked to Cuba. Like, what?
Huh.
You just fucking get a boat, dude.
Just get a boat.
Because yeah, that's a kind of almost a death sentence. When you hijack, you're kidnapping a whole entire airplane full of
Oh
people.
yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of felonies.
All right, I got to go get in trouble. This is going to be a bad day for me.
Oh,
That's a bad bad attitude to have, isn't it? It's
it
going to be,
is.
but it is going to be. I'm going to have some conflict today, some arguments. You're talking
Okay,
about
well, so
business.
try and focus on communicating effectively.
Try to focus on not giving a shit about business, really, because at this point in my life, and I keep saying this, at this point in my life, business shouldn't matter anymore. I should be allowed to be an irresponsible teenager again.
Right,
I
right.
paid my
Yeah, just
dues.
piss it all away, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get
And I
that.
understand the young people I'm working with care about the business. They have to
Right,
understand.
right. Their investment level is different.
Yeah, all I really care about is playing music on the weekends, going to see comedy shows, talking to comedians, doing this. That's all I really care about. Everything else
Yeah.
is just fucking crap to me. It's just another. It's Louis C.K. calls it, living between diarrheas. I just living from one diarrhea to the next. This is diarrhea. My show's a diarrhea. Everything's diarrhea,
Yeah.
and I'm just living in between the diarrheas, dancing between the diarrheas. That's my latest book. Well, I should put out my first book before I do my latest book. Anyway,
It's a little nutty.
Yeah. Good luck with your. Now this is April 14th. You're going to be.
Yeah, tonight I'm going to be doing. There's the open mic competition at Boston's Comedy Club in T, South Dakota, which is a suburb of Sioux Falls.
And Bosses, is this related to the club you played in North? It's same thing, right?
It is. But so the original Bosses was here in Sioux Falls. And then it moved to the Ramada in Sioux Falls, and then now it's out in T. But now there's 3 Bosses locations that do comedy, and that's in T, in Fargo, and in Rapid City, South Dakota.
Wow. Very good. Well, the question I was going to ask you, because it's April 14th, are you gonna like I know you're not a pre-planner, but for me, this is such a big opportunity.
This 100% I will. Everything I do for this show is going to be strategic. I'm definitely about to do something different, bro.
All right. Well, let us know if there's, obviously people aren't going to fucking do anything. They're not going to lift a finger for you anyway, because nobody's lifted a finger to put in the GoFundMe for the car. But let me know.
Still sitting at 150, I'm sure.
Anyway,
I mean,
let me know if there's anything I can do to help with your performance on this thing. Anything at all that we can do
yeah, and
to.
I'll get a hold of the producers and stuff and see what we can do about having one of the show organizers on for like promoting or whatever.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
and mention to them that somebody had reached out to me through Road Comics of America about talking about it. That was weeks ago, and they
Yeah,
never got back to me. And I did get back to them. I said, pick a date on the calendar. They said, okay, and then never heard from them. So,
yeah,
all right.
yeah,
Well, have a good day. I'm going to try to have
yeah, man.
a good day, even though I'm going to have a lot of arguments. Anyway,
All
see
right.
you later. Bye for now. William Conway, he's going to be the last comic standing in Sioux Falls. I don't mean to jinx him by saying that, but he's going to be. We're all going to will him over the finish line. That would be a great thing. Wish him luck. Keep your fingers crossed. Whatever you do, you can dance around a fire pit going, whoa, 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 whoa. Whatever you do, for good luck for Will. Anyway, good Will hunting. Have a great day. Don't forget to turn on your radio. Bye for now.